Hello and welcome to another episode of Authors Espresso. I'm your host, Nadia Gilkes, and tonight we have an amazing interview. Our guest is an award winning international speaker, trainer, professional coach, published author, minister, and musician whose work is dedicated to elevating human consciousness through leadership, communication, and personal transformation. He is a dynamic and versatile presenter who can seamlessly move from a Microsoft Office class to a motivational keynote or corporate leadership workshop, always weaving humor, insight, and practical tools into every experience. He is also a two-time finalist in the World Championship of Public Speaking, one of the most prestigious speaking competitions in the world. As the author of 8 powerful books, including the acclaimed "FEC'd Change Leadership series, he challenges leaders to turn fear, ego, and culture from obstacles into allies for meaningful change. Please help me welcome James Jeffley. How are you? And thank you for joining tonight.
I'm great, Nadia. Thank you for having me here. And I need that intro because that's really good.
Oh, you've been doing this for decades. I'm sure you have been introduced by the best of them at this point, but happy to send it to you if you like me to.
Thank you so much. And FYI, it's 9 now. I just released another one.
Oh,
Sweet.
okay, I might have because I was on Amazon count like not since the fact.
Y- Yeah, since then.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
well, we can
like
talk
3
about
days
that in
ago.
a little bit. I don't have the information for that one,
That's okay.
but I did want to congratulate you on releasing Un-FEC'd because that launched on my birthday. So I
Oh,
just consider that a little personal gift. January 9th. Your book is a Capricorn.
happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
So Un-FEC'd is number 9, or
No,
or
it's a
something since
brand new
then.
one called
Holy smokes.
Misdiagnosed.
Oh my goodness.
How leaders keep solving the wrong problem.
I love that.
And I liken problem solving in leadership to doing medical diagnosis. And, if you went to a doctor and you said, "Doctor, I've got a pain," and they didn't run any tests, they didn't look, they just go, "Okay, here's a prescription, take 2 of these." Would you trust that?
No, and I've had that before.
So from experience. But unfortunately, that's how so many leaders in businesses and organizations manage, like the doctor who doesn't run any tests, doesn't ask any questions. They don't do any diagnostic uh, process. They often treat symptoms as causes and they try to treat symptoms and then keep having the same problem.
Mm.
So this book is about lessons we can learn from excellent medical practitioners in applying a diagnostic discipline to problem solving in organizations.
Oh my goodness. You would be great to do kind of a cross presentation, possibly with someone I just interviewed, Joy McMillan. I
Oh,
think hers aired like about a month ago, and
mhm,
she started from a CNA and then went all the way up to executive leadership,
mhm,
opening hospitals and doing compliance and regulatory work.
right.
And it kind of sounds like you two have a very common link. So look for her interview.
All right, I will do that.
So, and the name of that newest book, one more time, because I don't have that on my list.
Misdiagnosed.
Misdiagnosed. I love that. Well, I wanted to start out talking about your book titles because
Mhm,
they're so unique, they're so catchy. You do leadership, which most people hear that and start to tune out,
right.
but you have the 7 love levels from boardroom to bedroom, which is my favorite, and now the Fecked Up series,
Yeah.
with Un-FEC'd being the latest one. And I don't know if there's more coming, but how do you come up with these catchy book titles?
That's a great question. I'll hear something and you know how as speakers, as you are, you'll hear a word or just a play on a word and it'll just sit with you for a minute. It's like, "Oh, that's interesting. What is that? What is that?" And I was of course fecked up as a play on another phrase. And I like being a little edgy, a little provocative, but not for the shock value of it, but just to get people out of their normal routine to think differently about something.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, well, okay, I can't use that word, but what is FEC? And then I started playing with that, and then, oh, wait a minute, what's that an acronym for? Oh, and then the idea came.
Mm,
Fear, ego, and culture are three of the biggest resistors to change
mhm.
in the organizations. Because you've probably worked in the corporate world and been through a reorg or two. And, when they come out and they go, "Oh, we have to address this issue, and we're gonna have a reorganization," and they start spouting the corporate babble speak, right? "Ooh, new horizons, a bold new direction," right? And what pops up? It's always fear, because the first question that most people have is, "Oh, no, am I going to lose my job?"
Mm,
Ego pops up. Oh, you're going to introduce another new system, another new program. I just got good at the last one.
mhm.
Now I have to start all over again.
Definitely
That's
heard that.
ego. So fear protects safety, ego protects identity, culture protects familiarity. Because you work with your people for a while and you develop relationships and friendships, and now a certain workflow and routine. Here they come with a new thing that gets disrupted, which is why one of the common phrases you'll hear is, "Oh, that's not how we do things
Yeah.
here."
I was gonna say that. That's the way we've always done it, gets so far under my skin, and when
Yeah.
I was going through these questions, that kept coming up, and I was like, "People mask it as culture, but it really is fear."
Well,
You
it
or
it could
it's
be
a
fear.
lot intertwined, but
Yeah, and they're all related, and they all feed off of each other.
Mhm,
Fear raises his head and goes, "What? Well, there's something going on. What's going on?" And ego's like, "Oh, well, hopefully it's not gonna be something I can't handle or I don't know." And
mhm.
culture's like, "Oh, we wanna protect everything, and let's all gather around, and no, don't change us." But if you as a leader don't know that or understand that or learn how to talk with fear, ego, and culture, you'll keep wondering why you're one of the statistics where 60 to 70% of most change initiatives fail.
Mm.
They fail to meet their intended goals.
And is it just not handling that this is the way we've always done it well, or what are some of the factors that you see that causes corporations to fail when they are trying to initiate change?
Well, this is where Misdiagnosis comes in as the first book. I realized that when I finished writing it. That's actually the first book. They diagnosed the wrong problem. So they try to solve a symptom with a wrong solution because it's not the right problem. And once they introduce that, here comes Feck with the fear, ego, and the culture just resisting, resisting, resisting. And they think, well, is it the messaging? Is it did we not have a good slideshow or presentation? No, you introduce change on top of change on top of change. There is such a thing as change fatigue.
Mm,
And then Un-FEC'd, which the third book in that change series, is all about how to stop doing that and how to restructure your organization so they can be more change change tolerant, right? So fear, ego, and culture can actually work with you and be your allies rather than the big resistors.
I love that. So you do a lot with leadership and relationships.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people underestimate how to properly use their human resources. So when you're talking to a lot of leaders, how do you magnify the importance of the human relationship?
It's if it's not, well, I almost want to say it's everything, but it's probably 70, 80% of what makes everything work. Yes, you have to have a good product or service. Yes, you have to have good systems and support and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's people. And the people either make it work or they don't. And I know there are some organizations that are trying to figure out how to work in more robots and automation and AI and yeah, you can experiment with that, but you're still gonna need somebody to program the AI. You're still gonna need somebody to maintain the robots. And one of the things that I think a lot of leaders are not thinking about is how are you going to handle the human backlash?
Mm,
You remember when back in the 80s and 90s, there were a lot of organizations who were shutting down their local support and they were offshoring that to other countries? And you'd call support and you get somebody who didn't sound like you, who may have had a very thick accent that was hard to understand because you're not used to hearing that. And it's like, well, can you get me to somebody else? I need to talk to somebody
And
else.
that normally didn't get you very far.
It didn't. Talk to a supervisor who sounded like the person that you just talked to. And so there was a backlash against that. It's like, no, we want to talk to people that we can understand, that sound like us, right? And you're trying to save money. I get that. That's
Mhm.
right. But there was a backlash for that, and so one of the selling points of some organizations were, "Oh, US-based tech support, US-based customer service," right? You started to see that pop up in advertising and websites and all of that. So I think there is a coming human backlash against over AI, over, mechanization in organizations.
Yeah, people don't wanna train their replacement. They certainly don't want their replacement to be a robot, and like you said, leaders want to save money and investors want their dividend checks to be high.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're at the point where we're really finding a balance yet in that, and I think we still see a lot of the minimizing of a lot of jobs. So
Yeah.
I don't know how people insulate themselves from that or if there is a way to insulate because you work with the leaders, you don't necessarily work with the whole team, or do you?
I work with everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
work.
as far as an emotional intelligence
Mhm.
journey, how do you help people to navigate that when we do see so many jobs still being minimized?
Right. It's a tough conversation, but it has to be a realistic conversation, and, one of the things I tell people is do not put all your eggs in one basket. This is something that's been written about for many years. There was a book, I forget the author's name, but it was called Multiple Streams of Income. Robert Allen, Multiple Streams of Income. And he wrote this back in the 80s or so, 80s or 90s. And he was saying back then, you cannot afford to have one source of W 2 income. You need other sources of income, primarily passive income. Robert Kiyosaki was talking about this in his whole Rich Dad, Poor Dad financial literacy series and all the other books and workshops that came from that. And he was preaching the gospel of passive income as well, right? And so if you are a W 2 wage person working a job and that's your sole source of income, you got to diversify, you got to branch out. I'm not saying you have to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs. I'm saying find another source of income. Most people don't need a job, but everybody needs a source of income.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a lot of people will become entrepreneurs. But
Yeah,
then and I read the side hustle books, the 4-hour work week, and, you can get so much done in this amount of time, and then you've got more free time. But I see so many people that are resistant to being entrepreneurs.
yeah,
Is there any advice to help them step out on faith or passion? Because it will be a necessity moving forward, I think.
yeah, a few things. One, uh, technology and capitalism are forcing people to evolve faster than they want to. And this is what Darwin talked about. It's not survival of the fittest, it's survival of the most adaptable.
Mm,
So we've got to learn to be flexible and adaptable. So that means broadening and deepening our skill sets. Don't get caught being the one trick pony.
we're gonna have to be forced to learn AI? This
Well, it's kinda like I'm pre-Google, I'm pre-internet. That's how old I am. I remember when the first personal computer came into the corporate office where I was working. Prior to that, we were all on, mainframe with dumb terminals and typewriters, right? I'm typewriter old. And so when we got the first personal computer in, it's like, "Oh, this is amazing." And we had the big floppy disk, not the little ones, but the big ones, and we
Mhm.
were trying to figure out how to program it, how to work it and all of that. And there were a lot of people who were saying, "Oh, we can't do that. We don't need that. That's too much." But after a while, We had more and more and more of them, and we got applications, and things started to move over into the PC world. And now, I guess that's a long-winded way of saying the tools of business keep evolving.
Mhm.
And if you do not evolve with the tools of business, you will get left behind.
Very true.
Most people are not looking at, okay, can you use a typewriter? It's like, well, maybe you can type. Okay, that's a good skill. That's still an
Well,
important.
you know what? Everything is coming back around. Albums are all the rage now. We're gonna be back to 8-track in, like, 4 years, and people are gonna be like, "Look at this neat thing." that you can put music. So you never know, we could be going back to typewriters.
Not 8 tracks. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean,
I'm just waiting to see, bell bottoms and albums are here, so you never know. We'll see.
fashion may come around, but people get used to the speed and
Convenient,
convenience of
yeah.
technology, right? I mean, you think about the day trying to make a mixtape for somebody, sitting there with your cassette up to the radio, waiting for the DJ to shut up to, to press record. And then waiting for the next song. Now you can just go on to your favorite music app and just make a playlist and share it, and boom, you're done.
Those were classic times,
I
classic
know.
times.
Now it's like, I made you a playlist. It's like, oh, it's sweet. But yeah, we get used to the speed of the technology and we don't want to go back, right?
Yeah.
We want to go
Yeah.
forward and faster, not backwards and slower.
That's very true. It'll be interesting the next 10 years to see what it brings. So for a lot of people that are merging companies, because that's huge now, I've been through 3 mergers at this point.
Wow.
And, just seeing different teams and walking into different teams and even looking at football because I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. So,
I'm
what do
sorry.
you tell Yeah, I am too. But
Hey,
what do you tell
tell
a leader
people
who's walking into a new organization and they inherited a broken system? What tools do you tell them to start to implement or how to smooth over those human relationships?
what level are we talking about?
Well, I imagine that you do a lot of Fortune 500 companies, so the C-suites or the executive level.
Yeah. What I would say to them is take a page from the medical world, right? You got an emergency room full of patients. You have to do triage. So your first step is to figure out who needs care absolutely right now or they're going to die. So what part of your organization has to have some kind of stabilizing effort right now or everything is just going to fall apart. If you're brand new in the leadership area, you probably don't know what that is. So I would recommend that they just do a listening tour as quickly as possible. And not just the directors or senior directors or VPs. Go talk to the people on the front lines who actually
Yeah,
live it every day. Go out on the manufacturing floor. Go talk to the drivers. Go talk to the administrative assistants and ask them, hey, what's on fire right now?
yeah. Really, really important. It's always interesting when we get a directive and we're like, "Oh, this is somebody sitting behind a desk in corporate that has never stepped in our office building." You absolutely can tell the difference when it just doesn't make sense or it's not practical,
Yeah,
and that's a big divide
it's a
between
huge
smoothing over
divide.
things.
Sometimes have you ever seen the show the undercover CEO, undercover boss?
Oh, yeah. Love
Right.
it.
So the CEO comes out of the ivory tower and they go hang out in the store or whatever, and they put the mask and the makeup on, and what? They do that? That goes on here? Oh my! But they get to see clearly because now they're in it, not away from it.
Yeah,
But not all CEOs or C-suite people or senior leaders do that. They don't go out into the field and talk to the customers and the employees to see what life is really like. 100 years ago or so, I worked for a company called Payless Shoe Source.
oh my god.
Oh yeah, I'm
They
I'm Payless old, and they're out of business, and that was not my fault. We were profitable when I was there.
I couldn't believe when it left. I was like, "What are we
Yeah,
gonna do on Easter?"
I know, right? But I started in the stores, and I knew what that world was like. I worked in the stores, I managed the store, and then I got to go to the corporate office and work there. And I got to see how things work on both sides of reality. And sometimes we'd be making a decision in the corporate office. I'm like, that's not going to work in the stores. And let me tell you 3 reasons why.
Mm,
And they didn't know because they'd never had that experience. Maybe they've gone to a store to shop or to look around, but they didn't live the store experience. So
mm.
it's great to
Yeah, it's
see from both sides.
yeah, and I think those are the best leaders because you've gone all the way through the ranks, and
Yeah.
so you can identify and have different points of view.
Yeah.
I don't know how closely you follow my Facebook page, but a few months ago, I went to Costa Rica
Uh-huh.
and saw a Payless, and I about fell out. I'm like, "It's here. It didn't leave forever."
Not entirely. They still kept some of the
Still in the
stores.
Caribbean, apparently, in the Central America, so I was very happy. I felt like, "Okay, I'm back home." So
Yay.
funny. And they had, like, a big old buy one, get one sale
BOGO.
like they always do. I'm like, "It's the same, just in
Yep.
Spanish."
Yep.
Now you have a lot of interest and you do a ton of things, so I don't wanna leave your music and your ministry out. So how do you intertwine the music life, your bass guitar for your church, and you play in bands on the side as well, or just in church?
I don't do a lot of bands anymore, just primarily church these days because everything got disrupted with COVID.
Yeah,
So once that happened, nobody was playing anywhere, right,
yeah.
for a while. And so I actually got to a point where I thought, am I ever going back to music?
Mm.
And then even when things started to open up, I'm like, I don't know if I can trust this. I'm wearing the masks out and still, and then finally somebody said, "Hey, we want you. We need you to come play with the men's group at church." I'm like, I don't know. Are you all wearing masks? It's like, well, some of us are, but don't worry about coming. It'll be fine. It's like, okay. So I wore my mask and went, and it's like, okay, I missed this. Playing reminded me how much I love it and how much I missed it. And so, all right, but that's what I'm doing. I'm doing, most Sundays at church, and that's fun. That's fine. Love that.
And
Good
how does
people.
that influence your leadership journey, if at all?
Being a musician teaches you a lot of leadership lessons, and one of the most important ones is how to listen. If you're playing with an ensemble, then you gotta listen to the other players. What are they doing? Am I in the right place? "Oh, was that an interesting idea, and can I interact with that idea in a musical way? How am I supporting the singer? I don't need to be up front. I need to be in the back, but I have a role to play." So being a musician can teach you a lot about relationships, about leadership, about teamwork and collaboration.
And then you're also a minister as well?
I am.
You do everything.
Not
So
everything.
being a minister and having, um, the Bible as your threshold and you're guiding others, how does that blend into your leadership philosophy? Because as we see, there's all kinds of leaders out there.
There there
So how is that your guiding principle and your philosophy when you go out to do your keynotes and trainings?
well, let me offer a slight, adjustment there. I wouldn't say the Bible is my threshold. I have dipped my toes in a lot of different, spiritual waters over the
Oh,
years,
okay,
and, where I am now is I would say I am spiritual, not religious,
okay.
and how that informs what I do in the leadership space is I pull wisdom from a variety of different sources. I'm not going in to proselytize or try to tell people, "Oh, you've got to believe this or you've got to follow that." It's like, no, 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 no. But somebody over here said this one thing that's got a lot of wisdom and truth in it. I'm going to share that with you. It doesn't really matter whether it came from the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran or the Bible or Ernest Holmes and New Thought or wherever Martin Luther King, Maya Angelou, wherever wisdom is, I seek that. And if it can be helpful as a guiding point in a conversation, then I will pull from that source.
Oh, I love
Does that
that.
help?
So when you say spiritual but not religious, I know often when I hear this, and I could misunderstand it, but I often hear people that, like yourself, get wisdom from a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And often they don't go to a church because they don't like the commercialized business that a lot of churches are. But you just said you go to church every Sunday and you
Yep.
minister and you play the guitar.
Yep.
So what does that mean when you say it's spiritual but not religious?
There are a number of organized religions. Most people can name 3 or 4 of them, right? And there are a bunch of others. Within those main organized religions, there are a bunch of different denominations, right? Outside of organized religions, many people have a spiritual practice. Some people may have a humanist practice. Some people may have more of a nature focused practice. Nature is their church. Some people may, find guidance in the writings of some people, like Howard Thurman or James Baldwin, or folks like that. And so, I don't think any particular. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, but I don't think any particular religion or faith system has an absolute lock on the truth. I read a book a number of years ago called The World Christian Encyclopedia by a guy named David Barrett, and he was commissioned by the Catholic Church to travel around the globe to study as many different religions as he could. Go find all the religions and write down what's important to them and who studies them and how many. He spent about 40 years of his life trying to identify as many religions on the planet as he could. Guess how many religions he identified?
I don't know, but
10,000.
wow.
150 of those have at least 1 million followers.
Wow.
So it's not just 3 or 4 and then a bunch of cults, right?
Right.
So 150 have at least 1 million followers. So whatever that system is, it's speaking something to those people. There's something in it for them. There's some wisdom, some comfort, etc. And Christianity alone has almost 34,000 denominations. Islam has like 90 different sects within it. Judaism has several different sects within it. And so even if you look at a major religion, it's not just that religion, it's multiple things that have slight variations in what they believe. And so one of my fantasies is it would be great to have a large stadium like the Rose Bowl, fit 100,000 people in there, and have one representative from all the
Oh my gosh.
religions, all the denominations in there at the same time. And then I walk out to a podium and I stand there and go, please stand if yours is the one true belief. How many people do you think would stand?
Everybody.
Exactly. And I would drop the mic and walk off. Because if all of those people think that their thing is the one true thing, somebody's wrong.
Yeah.
And so for me, I wouldn't say I'm anti-religious. I'm anti the level of certainty that most people have about their faith system being the only one true faith system.
Yeah.
And so after having experienced a few of them, where I am now is I go, well, you know what? There's some truth in that, and there's some truth in that, and there's some wisdom in that thing. Oh, and what's that? Oh, wow, I've lived that one. There's some truth in that.
Mhm.
So it's like a buffet for me.
Yeah. I love that. I think about, venturing out, but coming under the cloud of Christianity
Uh,
and all the brainwashing is very difficult, but I always say all of these people have these ideals, but the premise is about the same. Like you do good on earth and then you go somewhere and it's great, or you go somewhere it's bad. And I'm like you said, there's so many denominations under one umbrella and everybody's got their own interpretation. Someone's gonna be very surprised when they don't get to where they thought they were going.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, this is not what I was taught.
Right.
Well, I was expecting these. What can I speak to a manager?
And that's kind of the premise of my next fiction book. I'm not trying to be the fiction funeral lady, but that's kind of what it's becoming because my first book was themed around a funeral, and the
Okay.
next one will be too. But yeah, I think about it all the time, and I have branched out to start reading some other things. But
Yeah.
a lot of us just continue with the conditioning we've always had because it's comfortable, right?
Yeah, until it isn't,
Yeah.
right?
So you get that nudge to search for something more. I
Yeah,
definitely want pivoting now. I definitely want to give Toastmasters just a little bit of time because it's big in both of our lives. And you have made it to the final stage twice, which most people don't ever get out of their district if they're even.
yeah,
So, what is it about the Toastmasters speaking journey that drives you? Because that takes a lot of commitment to start in January, go all the way through the end of August
yeah,
competing. And you've done that at least 2 times,
yeah. 3 times. My
three
3rd
times.
time, I took 3rd in the international semifinals, so I didn't make it the 3rd time to the finals, but yeah, and then I stopped competing and because I was burned out. Like, I've been doing this nonstop for, almost 3 years now, and I've had enough. Because it is a constant grind of writing and rewriting and editing and giving speeches and giving the speeches and getting evaluations and feedback, and then it's like, So I got into it because I was going through a difficult time in my life and I needed a safe harbor. And
Mm,
somebody said, "Oh, a Toastmasters meets at the thing on Monday nights." I'm like, "Oh, well, my son has choir practice on Mondays, and it gets out when the after the Toastmasters does." So it made sense
perfect,
logistically.
yeah.
So I'm doing the thing and I'm having fun, did my icebreaker and some of the this was back when we had manuals, right?
Mhm.
And pre-pathways. And then somebody said, "Hey, are you gonna be in the contest?" "What contest?" "We have speech contests." Well, I hadn't done speech contests since high school, and that was 100 years ago. So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Tell me about it." So they gave me some information and I threw it together a speech and did the thing. And next thing you know, it's like, "Oh, I won. Okay, I guess I still got it, right? Club level and then area. Oh, okay, I guess I still got it. Division. Oh, dang. Okay, district. Oh, and then I won district. Like, oh my God, am I going to? I'm actually going to. And this was the first year they held it outside of North America. Was Malaysia.
Oh, wow.
I did not have that on my bingo card. 2014. So yeah, I went to Malaysia. And it was an amazing experience. I'd never been in that part of the world before. And to watch other speakers from around the world and to listen to them. There's some amazing speakers in Toastmasters. And, I really got it was an international organization when you see the parade of flags and people
Oh,
are
yeah.
and it's a
Gets
proud
me teary-eyed every time.
right? It's like, "Oh, this is beautiful." It's a beautiful thing. And I won the semifinal. I made it to the finals in my first year in Toastmasters.
Wow.
And was sick as a dog before I presented. I ate something the night before that did not agree with me.
Wow.
I spent most of the night just going to the bathroom and just yeah, it was not pretty. And I'm like, "Please just" that's when I got religion. "Please let me be okay enough for, like, I just need 7 minutes. If I
Right.
can hold this together for 7 minutes and get my speech."
Yeah, because it's intimidating. There's thousands of people in the audience, like, it's a huge convention. I don't know who went to Malaysia, but, normally there's 2 or 3,000
Oh,
people
yeah.
there, so yeah.
And there were, and it was a huge stage, and, it was amazing. So I'm laying on the couch in the green room, tie off, shoes off, just
Oh
and
my gosh, I
still
could not imagine.
and then it's like, "Okay, it's my time." I think I was actually 1st in the
Oh,
order, and
yeah.
so it's like, "Okay, that's good because I can now relax the rest of
Mhm.
the way." So I went out and I did my thing, it's okay, I came back and just went back to the couch, just that was the year, Don and Jaya Hederachi did "I See Something in You,"
Yeah.
right? I got to see that live, or at least from the green room on the TV, and
Mhm.
once he finished that speech, we all looked at each other and went, "Okay, well, that's the winner." Whoever gets 2nd or 3rd, good for you, but that's the speech. It
Yeah.
was one of those iconic things. It was one of those iconic speeches.
See,
Uh,
that's what we need. We need the what's going on in the green room behind the scenes because us junkies don't get that. You might say a little bit of it, you hear the first couple, the first, second, third when they do their
yeah.
interviews afterwards, but we don't really always get that behind the scenes, what was going on.
It all depends on the venue, right?
Mm,
In Malaysia, there was a proper green room behind the stage, and when it was your turn, you were
you were
mic'd up
right
and you just
there.
went out there. In Las Vegas in 2015, there were some side rooms that
Mhm.
you could go in and practice your speech in, and then at some point, we all come out and we're seated in the audience, and then we just
Oh,
came up from there.
oh, wow. Okay.
There's a lot of backstage, but not necessarily a green room, so people are just kind of in their head, just, walking through their speech, and some are being quiet and just off in a corner,
Yeah,
so
I don't know that I'd want to be in the audience watching the other performances.
yeah.
I'd want to be in the back with headphones, like somebody just nudge me when I'm next or something.
Yeah, because 'cause you're in your zone and you're just
Yeah.
focused on your thing, you don't wanna necessarily think about the other speakers or what's going on.
Yeah.
I've coached some speakers before who ask, "Well, should I watch the other speakers at other contests just to see what they're doing?" I'm like, "Why? There's nothing you can do about that. You're not gonna change their speech.
Yeah.
All that time and energy watching other people, you could spend working on you."
And now it's even a little more dangerous to do that too, I think, because I think 3 years ago when the rules changed a little bit and you can't acknowledge somebody else's speech in your own and sometimes you just off the cuff and audience reaction and you start changing up a bit,
Yeah.
and I mean, that would be a horrible way to go out, "Oh, you referenced so and so's speech, this got challenged." So,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, I
"Sorry,
think
you're done, out."
right.
But 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 in the real world, sorry to say the real world is Toastmasters.
Yeah, because I don't know what happened in the I think it was the Bahamas when Richard Peck was the chief judge, and he called all the judges to the hallway, and we were like, "What happened?" I mean, there's a challenge, and
Yeah.
there's no other way to get around it. He had to go on stage and be like, "All the judges, meet me in the hallway," and we're like, "Okay." It took a really long time to get the results back, and
Mhm,
I
mhm.
can't remember what had happened, but I'm sure there must have been a challenge, so
Yeah.
interesting. But a lot of people find their way to Toastmasters through
Mhm.
their jobs because
Yeah.
they get up to give a sales presentation or something goes wrong and their boss says, "You might need Toastmasters." How do you find that Toastmasters influences someone to become a better leader?
I think it depends on how much time they spend in Toastmasters. If they just come to a meeting or a couple of meetings, it may not have an effect. But for some people, after that first meeting or two, they may get hooked. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm standing in front of people and I'm not melting and I'm making my points and it's clear and they're responding and I could take this back to my job because it's a usable skill."
Mm.
So I think it actually can help people become better leaders, but I think a lot of the reasons why people come is to get over fear and anxiety, to learn how to be more poised and confident when they speak. I think the leadership thing for most people comes later.
Yeah.
When they take on a
I
role, a VP of something or a club.
yeah. Yeah, I totally fell into the leadership track. I think I'll probably start competing again next year. I've never done international speech though. Um,
Oh,
but
it's fun.
I feel that I'll say up until last year, I'll f I'll s I feel that you really have to come with something that's been, like, life-altering, mind-shifting, people wanna be touched and cry a little bit and then laugh a lot, and this whole formula that we used to have,
Yeah,
and I don't feel like I've ever had that impactful moment speech,
yeah,
and the rules don't tell you it has to be that, but the precedence tells you it has to be that based on everything else you see on YouTube.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think the "What do I have to say that's impactful?" kinda has stopped me from international speech, but, you don't get great until you just start doing it, so I guess I just have to do something.
Yeah, you probably have more great wisdom and things to share than you give yourself credit for. And sometimes it's not a big world-changing message, right? It's not "I have a dream today." It's nothing like that. Kinda ruined it for everybody with that one, right? So we took that one. But maybe it was something your grandmother taught you. and it's wisdom that has stuck with you, throughout your life, and it's something that you apply regularly, right?
Yeah.
You never forget that, and so that could be useful for someone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. People do tell me every now and then I should write a memoir, and I'm like, "I haven't done anything." And they're like, "Yes, you have. You do everything." So one of these days, I'll pull that together. Now, we do here at Authors and Espresso talk a lot about the writing and publishing journey. So,
Yes.
do you mind if I delve into that a little bit?
Please, please.
Because, as you said, you have 9 books now, and a lot of them are back to back. Like you released a few in 23, 5 or 6 in 2024, two in 2025, and now already in January 2026, you've released two. So,
Yep.
how do you have the fortitude to pull out these books back to back?
I'm at a stage in my life where, um, I feel I have things to say and I know what they are. I felt I had things to say before, but wasn't always clear, but now I am. And sometimes I'll go to Chat G as I call it because we're tight like that, and I'll just
Mine's
throw
just
an
Chatty G.
Yeah, Chatty G for you. And I'll just throw out an idea and, "Hey, what do you think about this?" "Oh, that's an interesting idea." We'll just have conversation back and forth about it, and then something will click, and I'm like, "Ah, this is a book, isn't it?" It's like, "Yes, it is." I'm like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
not
gosh.
another one, not another one." So I become the DJ Khaled of authors, another one.
I love it.
But these are a lot of these things were ideas that I've shared in leadership circles or in corporations for the last 25 or 30 years, but never put into a coherent, a cogent thought, into a book form, right? So this is 25, 30 years of experience that's being distilled into specific things.
I love that. So apparently I'm not using ChatGPT properly because I'm still using it like Google, but
It can do a lot of things.
I that's
Some
what people
things it's
keep
not
saying,
good
I
at
just don't
too.
know what, and then when I try to have it create an image, the image never comes out great like what I see people putting on Facebook, and I'm like, "Well, me sitting down and prompting it to do something, that's very hard. That's the skill that I have to use, to
Image
learn
cre
and deepen."
image creation has gotten a lot better with it
Okay.
as of the last update or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother has, something he's using where just through prompts, he's
Mhm.
building an app.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, all these $20,000 app developers won't have a job, but he's building like a whole app. And I'm like, I don't know the first way to properly prompt it to do all of those nitty gritty things. But like you
Yeah.
said, we have to learn it and adapt
Yeah.
so we don't find ourselves on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So how are you balancing the writing, the training, the speaking schedule? You've kind of put Toastmasters off to the side a little bit, so that's some
Yeah.
time, but
Yeah.
what is your time management skill? How do you
That's another book that I haven't written yet,
Okay,
but I've talked about it.
we're getting
Uh,
the inside peek.
it's not so much about managing time. I don't believe time is a thing you can manage because the tick is going to talk. It's just gonna happen. What we're actually managing is energy, focus, and satisfaction. We all have a certain amount of mental, physical, and emotional energy every day, and we all have a cycle, our focus time and our doldrum time. What would make me happy? What would give me satisfaction, right? Not just the need to do stuff, but mind, body, spirit stuff, right? So am I making slots in my day for those things? So energy, satisfaction, and then where do I put my attention? Where's my focus?
I love that. So to the person out there who is sitting on an idea,
Yeah,
sitting on a book, and they're
yeah,
scared to get started,
yeah,
what tips to shift their mindset would you give them to
yeah.
have the courage to put their work out there?
Very simple tip. Write. Get off of Facebook, get off of TikTok, sit down, and whether it's pen to paper or computer, however that works for you, sticky notes, or you record something into your phone, you speak it in there, write. Just start. Just start.
It's just that
Let
easy.
go of any expectations of perfection or bestseller list. Just write.
I think that's the key. Letting go of perfectionism, and that's very, very tough.
Yeah.
It's I was gonna say it took me a long time, but I'm still there. So it's taking me a long time, but I'm working on it.
Good. Recovering perfectionist.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Now
just
you
right,
s
just right. Let go of the idea of perfection, that it's gotta sound like anything, just right. You can always clean it up with an editor or with AI or some other tools, right? But just right.
and when it comes to editing, are you using AI for that too, or do you have an editor that you use?
I'm pretty good about editing as I write.
Mhm,
But I will usually go through I typically write in Microsoft Word because I've used it for many years and familiar with it, and so I'll use the editor in there to catch spelling and punctuation things. And then one thing I like to do is there's a review function in Word where you can say read aloud. And
mhm,
I'll just have one of the computer voices, very natural sounding, read the thing out loud to me and I'll listen to it.
mhm,
And I'll hear, all right, does that sound good? Do I need to change that word? If there's a typo that the editor didn't catch, I'll hear it because it'll sound it out. And so I'll go through that process and then I'll read it out loud to myself again.
yeah.
And then I'll drop it into an AI and say, scan this. Uh, Punctuation, typos, uh, grammar. Is it consistent from one chapter to the next? So I have several different things that check for things.
I love that. I think you hit all the things, and if anyone's been listening for a period of time, many of the authors have said that. So
Yeah.
there's a consistency there. There are tools that you can use that don't cost a fortune, and you don't have to hire an editor and
Mm-mm.
still put out a great product.
Yeah,
Now you
absolutely.
self-publish your books, correct?
I do, and I wrote a post earlier this morning on a few, author websites, or, groups on Facebook, just the author's journey, and what I said is, you have to be clear about the journey that you take, and there are 3 stops. The first stop is some people just wanna have a book.
Mhm.
So I wrote my things. I have a book. Okay, good. For some folks, that's it. Just stop there. Others want to get it published. Okay, well, you can do self-publishing through Barnes and Noble or Kindle Direct Publishing or Ingram Spark. There's a bunch of different places. And once you press send and it's published and you get your author copy, it's like, yay, I got that. And that's it for them. But there are others who want to go to stop number 3, which is, "Oh, I wanna be a bestseller and have it translated into multiple languages and turned into a movie," or maybe you just wanna make a few extra bucks a month to, support yourself. Each one of those stops has certain requirements. And if you want the last one where you're going to make money off of it, you need to focus on marketing and setting up a website and being on different groups and maybe, doing some book signings. And you've got to focus on the marketing aspect. If you don't care about that, you can self publish and there's your book. Yay.
Mom and your 5 friends can grab it.
Yeah, but maybe that's all you care about.
Yeah, yeah. I love
That
the
off your bucket
clarity
list.
ideals of know where you wanna go, and then that
Yeah,
track has its own benchmarks that you should meet.
absolutely.
Now, in everything that you've done with the training and the Toastmasters and the writing over your lifetime, what are some of your 3 biggest learned lessons that you tuck in your heart and keep with you always? What are your 3 nuggets of wisdom?
Wow, 3 nuggets of wisdom.
That could be a great title.
An upcoming book, I'll just write that down. Wisdom.
James
Oh,
JJ's
well,
nuggets of wisdom.
I can't take claim to this, but it's something that I quote all the time, and it's a quote from Einstein. He said, "Nothing happens until something moves." So I can pray on it, I can treat on it, I can wish for it, I can, but at some point, I gotta get up and actually do something. Right? So if you wanna make something happen in your life, take action. Nothing happens until something moves. Here's the second one. Everything changes. The universe is built on a foundation of impermanence. So if you love consistency is great. We all love it, but things will change. And so you got to be willing and able to adapt and change with life. So you want something to happen? Move. Things are always moving, so be ready to change. And probably the third thing is, be true to yourself. Know who you are and what's important to you, and try to live a life in alignment with not the self others have taught you to be, but with with the higher version of yourself.
That's
Find your
powerful.
find your biggest value, your highest calling, and try to live in alignment with that.
That's a ministry. That's a ministry moment. I love that. Now, did I miss anything? Was there anything that you came on here and you said, "I really hope she asked me about that," and we didn't get to it?
Well, here's one thing, jamesjeffleybooks.com. So if you want to read any of my books, there's an author website where it's got them all there, and they've got links to Amazon if you want the print copy. And if you just want the PDF for your mobile device, just buy it right off the site, instant download, jamesjeffleybooks.com. The other thing is for all of those speakers out there who are considering going through the contest grind in Toastmasters and they want a little help polishing their speech, go to upmyspeaking.org and click on Toastmasters, and I've got packages there for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then you are also a corporate trainer and a keynote speaker. So, how do people get in touch with you to hire you for those avenues?
They can go to upmyspeaking.org and yeah, just send me a message, contact there.
Perfect. Well, James, this has been wonderful. I thank you so much for your time, for your nuggets of wisdom, for sharing so much about leadership with us, because I really feel like people will take a lot away from that. People need the courage sometimes to step out and learn new things and try new things because, like you said, we can't be down to one little ball in the basket. So, thank you for your generosity today. And thank you, the listener, for tuning in to Authors and Espresso.
Thank you, Nadia.
You're welcome.